Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It's a beautiful morning here in San Diego. A little foggy today, a little challenging to get to work. Driving in the fog isn't always fun, but it's a beautiful day nevertheless. This is In the Raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. One of the greatest questions that have baffled humanity is, what is my purpose in life? And it's a question that has been asked over and over again by philosophers and thinkers, and just ordinary people like us. What is my purpose in life? I'm sure you've asked yourself that question as well. At one point in your life, what is my purpose in life? And we spend so much time, people spend so much time trying to find their purpose, especially when you're young and you're not sure what, you want to do in your future. But even, later in life, people decide, what I've been doing is not my real purpose. What is my purpose in life? And so we spend so much effort trying to figure out our purpose. And, King David in the Bible has been referenced with this. And this is, he definitely found his purpose. He definitely was able to identify his purpose very early on in his life. But hundreds of years later, this was written about him. When David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep. He was buried with his ancestors and his body decayed. So it's talking about David had served God's purpose. And so this tells me, that we spend so much time and effort in trying to figure out our purpose, and we're doing it in our own strength, when in reality, it's not about our purpose. It's not about finding our purpose. It's about finding God's purpose in our lives. We just saw that with David. David's served God's purpose. And the Bible is filled with references to this. The Word of God tells us time and time again that it's not about us. It's not about our purpose. Sometimes we want to be, we want to make everything about us, about me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is what I prefer. This is what, and we get so caught up in ourselves when it's not really about ourselves anymore. And let me share a few Bible references about this. This one's very well known, and I'm sure you've heard it. We know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. His purpose. Here's another one. Many are the plans in the mind of a man. Yeah, we have a lot of plans, right? We have a lot of plans. But it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. We can have all these plans. We can have all these projections and all these things that we plan out for ourselves, but it's the purpose of the Lord that will stand. And here's another one. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. So he's talking about the plans he does. He has plans for us. He has plans for us, for a good future, right? For future and for a future full of hope. There's another one, and this is Job speaking. I know that you can do all things. He's talking to God. I know you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. So he's recognizing that. He's acknowledging that God's purposes cannot be thwarted. In him we have obtained an inheritance. This is Paul speaking. Having been predestined according to the purpose of him who works all things according to the counsel of his will. So we are under his will. And we read earlier, which Paul also wrote to the Romans, all things work out for the best. Those who love God, all things work together for good according to his purpose, right? So Paul writes this over and over again. Here's another one. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. This is David speaking in Psalms. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the work of your hands. So David, of course, he acknowledged early on that he had a purpose from God. Proverbs, the Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of the trouble. So, God has made everything for his purpose. He uses all situations for his purpose, including ourselves. The purpose of in a man's heart is like deep water, but the man of understanding will draw it out. Man, I can't read now. The purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Who is a man of understanding? The man that acknowledges God, that acknowledges that it's God's purpose, not our purpose. So, I can go on and on with different verses, different references in the Bible, but the point I'm trying to make and the bottom line to all of this is it's not about our purpose. So if you're seeking to find your purpose, you need to stop thinking about your purpose. I don't know if that makes sense. And you need to start thinking of what is God's purpose for my life. And of course, talking to people that believe in God, right? But if you don't believe in God, or if you have doubts about that, if you have doubts about the Word of God, then you need to understand that life is much bigger than just the here and now. Life is much bigger than that. There's much more to life than just the here and now. And I pray for you that you would be enlightened in accordance to this. All right. Well, hope you have an amazing day, amazing weekend. We will talk to you soon.